When I first got on self-improvement, until very recently, I always had to force myself to learn. I always had to force myself to read books, to watch some podcasts. It was kind of like a chore. I didn't enjoy it at all. I actually hated it. So I always dreaded the time that I planned to read. I always dreaded the time that I planned to spend watching some informational podcasts or watching some courses. And the reason why was simply because I wasn't following my curiosity. Because the education system, the school system, had taught me to just learn for the sake of learning, to just learn things that you don't really enjoy. That's kind of the frame that they put me in. It taught me how to hate learning. It taught me that learning wasn't fun. It taught me that reading wasn't fun because I was forced to read books that were just given to me by a random teacher that I had no interest in. So I lost the skill that I find now very important, the skill of following your curiosity, following your genuine curiosity. That's the topic of this video. The reason why I don't enjoy learning, why I don't enjoy reading, why I didn't enjoy reading for most of my self-improvement journey, for most of my life, is simply because I didn't follow my curiosity. I just read for the sake of reading. I just watched podcasts for the sake of watching podcasts. So it was always a chore because I was curious about something else, but I wasn't really thinking. I wasn't really aligned to it anymore. So I was more reading a random thing that had nothing to do with what I was genuinely curious about right now. And your curiosity changes. It changes very often. For example, I'll tell you what really curious about recently. I've been really curious about the squat, the exercise, because it's a really complicated exercise, but I find it really fascinating, and I really want to perfect my form there. So because I've been so obsessed about the squat recently, I've been thinking about it so much. I've been researching about it and reading books about it. I found an amazing book by the YouTuber called Squat University. He made a full book on the squat, on a very detailed book. So I read the whole book yesterday. Like I didn't read every chapter because some chapters I didn't really need. But I've read the chapters that really rung with me. The chapters that really were aligned with my curiosity, with the information that I really needed. So I went through those chapters and I read the book. It was amazing. And I watched some of his content on the squat. So I had so much fun learning yesterday. And I read his book for like 2 hours straight because I was following my genuine curiosity. I didn't feel the time going. When you follow your genuine curiosity, you're gonna have fun when you're reading. And I know it's kind of like for me when I learned this from Hamza that you should follow your genuine curiosity, even though it's common sense. But because of school, we actually forget it. We actually forget how to actually follow our curiosity because of the education system. Because as kids, we actually do that. But as we get older, because of the education system, when you're just forced to just learn things that you hate, some people might should keep the skill, but some people like me lose that skill. So you have to teach yourself again to learn how to follow your curiosity, to align to your curiosity, to your genuine, authentic curiosity. And it's something that really changes a lot. It's not like you're going to be curious, as curious about this topic. Like I'm not going to be as curious about the squat 1 week from now. Even just 3 days from now, I'm going to be as curious about the squat. And I'm going to be thinking about something else more. So the best way to just know what you're actually curious about, because when I learned this advice, I was kind of yeah, it made sense, but I still didn't really know how to follow my curiosity. So an actionable step you can take to actually know what you're curious about and actually learn about it is simply analyze the thoughts you've been getting recently. What have you been thinking about a lot? So I just didn't realize yesterday, yeah, I've been thinking about the squat a lot. The thing you're curious about is something that you will think about a lot. So something that's been coming up again and again in your brain, something that you've been thinking about fairly frequently. That's what you're currently curious about. And it might be very random. It might not have been something that's very famous or that you thought you needed, but you actually thought you were curious about. I didn't really kind of thing I was curious about the squad until I really started analyzing my brain and thinking, yeah, I've been thinking about the squad a lot. And I never really imagined myself reading a book on squads, but I end up doing it. Because the curiosity changes a lot. So you shouldn't, firstly, another advice I want to give you, you shouldn't necessarily force yourself to read a book from start to finish. There are some chapters that are going to be aligned to your curiosity a lot more than some others. And some chapters you're not going to find valuable at all. So when you find yourself being bored whilst reading a chapter, are you, like, I think the table of content is probably the most important part of the book, where you see the different chapters. Because there you can see the different chapters and which chapter really aligns with what you're actually looking for and what you actually want to gain from the book and what you're actually curious about. So always look at the table of content before you start reading the book. And accept that your curiosity will change very often. Sometimes you're going to be curious about two different things in a day. So you're going to start the day being curious about this certain topic, and then later on in the day, you're curious about something else. This might generally happen. It's totally normal. Your curiosity is like that. Because sometimes you satisfy your curiosity in a certain topic, and then it changes to something else. But then you just have to simply look at what you're thinking about. Analyze your thoughts, and then you're going to see, okay, what am I curious about? And really analyze, like, it's really the trick. Analyze what you're thinking about. Analyze what you've been thinking about over the last few hours, few days. And that's how you're going to find what you're actually curious about. So yeah, I hope you got value in this video, because I think it doesn't seem like, for some people it's going to seem like, yeah, it's common sense. For me, it wasn't. And I wasted years because I didn't understand this concept. I would have made a lot more progress on my self-improvement journey if I actually understood this concept of following your curiosity. If I understood this concept from the start of my self-improvement journey, I would be a lot further now. Like, that's something I'm sure of. But I didn't understand this concept. And I'm sure if I struggle with this, I'm sure that other guys will also struggle with this. Will also kind of lost with this. Another thing I wanted to tell you, yeah, when you follow the curiosity, you might find yourself reading books that are not famous at all. For example, the book on Scott I was reading, it's not a famous book at all. It's not like a book that people talk about. And I just discovered it because I was looking for books on squats. So you will find yourself very often reading books that are uncommon, that aren't famous. But how famous a book is has nothing to do with how valuable it actually is. There are really some hidden gems out there. Books that are not famous at all, but are very, very, very valuable. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Don't for no discomfort. Chase it.